Hey moms, welcome back to the channel. And today we are talking to Amanda, who's going to give us the Quaran-Tea.
Yeah, so in today's video, we have Amanda. I don't know what side of the screen she's on for you guys. And Amanda is a teacher and also 34 weeks pregnant. So she's going to kind of walk us through what quarantine life has been like, both as a teacher, well, three things: a teacher, a human being, and an expecting mother.
Yeah.
A human expecting mother, apparently. No puppies?
We already have 2 kittens, so you know.
Expecting human mother.
There you go. So I teach 3rd grade. And so, gosh, when all this started, I actually had taken like a half day for a doctor's appointment because that Friday was a teacher work day. That was the day we were told, hey, you're not coming back to school tomorrow. So we actually went into the buildings, grabbed our stuff that we expected for a couple of weeks, and headed out. So this is my current classroom office.
Yeah.
So we work Monday through Thursday with the kiddos. Fridays are catch-up days. I'm very, very blessed that I'm actually taking like an online class to learn how to teach online.
Oh.
So that's been awesome. So I've been able to share a lot of things with my other teachers, do fun things with my students, that kind of thing. Every day, I try to do like a Google Hangout or Meet with my students and just give them a different theme. So let's see, Thursday was bring a snack that starts with the letter C. And then the day before it was bring your favorite stuffed animal. And that whole time we're just kind of like talking, hanging out, just trying to get that connection of being not back at school, but like that morning check-in time when you're like, hey, this is what happened this weekend, or it's my birthday or whatever, that kind of thing. It's just been kind of surreal. Like, I don't think any of us planned on it being this long.
Yeah.
But with, let's see, don't know, with 3rd grade, they're still so itty bitty. So of course, the first thing that they were like, okay, testing's out. Okay, good. We don't have to worry about that. Grades are out. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. So right now it's just trying to give them a sense of normalcy best we can.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still love teaching, and I still love being able to talk to my students and see my students, that kind of thing. It's hard. So there have been a lot of things like teachers driving through neighborhoods of their kids with signs, honking, that kind of thing. I just can't imagine the teachers that are having to like make copies of packets, and then the parents have to go to the school to go pick them up, or, you know, people that don't have access to internet, computers, stuff like that. Or you've got 3 or 4 kids and you're working from home. So how do you balance your time? How do you balance, you know?
Yeah.
So I know it's been hard for a lot of people. But none of us chose this. And that's what I think is what it comes down to, is we just kind of have to do the best that we can and be flexible with each other.
Yeah. No kidding.
It's a good time to learn how to be flexible, because that's what motherhood's all about. Being flexible.
That's what being a human being is about.
That's true too.
We always have like all these plans and like, I mean, whether it's a birthday party or projects or work, like we always have all these plans, and then
stuff happens.
The universe just throws like a wrench into it, and then it's like you have to be able to adapt and change. Yeah. And humans don't really like change by nature.
No. Yeah, and being a teacher, I'm very much like my list maker, and I like my schedules, and I like everything having its place, and like have everything planned, very like regimented. I also enjoy my sleep. So I'm a little worried. I'm still sleeping decent. Last night I had tried Tylenol PM for the first time.
How was that?
I slept great.
Oh,
I
good.
slept great.
I'm so glad. Because you've not been sleeping great.
No. No. So for the last like 2 nights, I just really hadn't slept almost at all. And then after going into my doctor, OB/GYN, whatever, on Friday, they're like, why don't you try Tylenol PM? Like, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take it.
Yeah.
When I woke up at 6 a.m., I was like, I have to pee right now.
It's a good thing the bathroom's right there.
Yes. Yeah, because normally it's like 2 times a night. Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
No. Well,
Yep.
speaking of that, because obviously you were pregnant when all of this happened, but how is it different? Like, how are you doing with that now? Do you think it would have been different if you were still in school at this point in your pregnancy?
Oh yeah, definitely so. So I'm really blessed in the sense of, with all of this going on, like being able to work from home and being able to do that whole social distancing. I only go like to doctor's appointments and maybe like a Kroger pickup. That's pretty much it. I'm really trying to stay at home. My husband still has to go to work, but when he comes in, he'll kind of strip down, get in the shower immediately,
And what does he do?
that kind of thing. He works in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So he um, is considered one of the like essential employees. He has to be there each day.
Yeah.
So with me being home, it's almost feel guilty for being more safe, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a natural chain, words.
Words are hard sometimes.
Chain of thought. That's not it. Train of thought.
Train of thought. There you go. Train of
Choo-choo.
thought.
Because I think about that too. Because Rick is in EMS, and he's not necessarily like right in the center of it, but he has had COVID positive patients, and aside from obviously like not wanting to get me sick, like we really worry about like our little, because he's almost, he's a baby still.
Mm-hmm.
And like his parents still come to see Oliver, not super frequent, but they still stop to see him for a little bit. Or like the other day, we didn't want to take him out into public when we had some errands to run, so they kept him for a little bit. And his mom is immune compromised.
Mm-hmm.
I can't normally say that right. And then his dad is over 70, so like there's just like when he comes home, it's like he has to think about things and deal with things, and I'm just like here hanging out. Like I understand where you're coming from, because I've had similar thoughts about that, where it's like because he has to work and because he already spends so much time away from home, it's like added guilt to the fact that like I'm just kind of here with our son all the time, and not only is he not here that often, but like when he's here, he feels like he has to be super careful, or he has to change outside, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I like when I go to the doctor, I still think it's so weird when you get off the elevator and there's a nurse sitting right outside the door. You can't even like go into the waiting room. They're there to take your temperature, to ask you your whole questionnaire, that whole thing. If you don't have a mask, they make sure they give you a mask. When I went on Friday, though, that was the first time other people were actually even in the waiting room the whole time any of this has been going on. Most of the time I go in and it's you, and there might be one other person waiting or one person coming in behind you.
Mm-hmm.
When I went in this past Friday, there were like 3 people in the waiting room, but they did have like don't sit here, social distance type signs set up on the chairs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think they're starting to see more of the wellness visits.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So they're having to see more people. Like I know my general physician or general doctor still isn't doing wellness visits because they're like, we just don't even want to risk it. And I know some of them are doing teledoc and stuff, but even then, like I wasn't feeling well the other day. And so they're like, well, we don't want you to come in, even though you're coming in twice a week. I go in on Tuesdays for ultrasounds and Thursdays for non-stress tests. But like, even though you're coming in twice a week, we'd still rather teledoc you. So, let us call you in a couple minutes.
Kind of on the similar line, I was talking to a patient at the office, at the chiropractor's office today, and she was talking about daycares because most of the daycares have been closed. So now some of them are starting to open back up, and they're limiting class size. So not everybody is guaranteed to have their child in daycare right now, even though most of them are still charging monthly. You're still paying them, but the class sizes have to be smaller. I know.
I didn't even think about that because that's been a big thing in our neighborhood is people are talking about like the daycares are starting to open back, and two of the major ones around here are about to open on Monday. And they're even talking about like the kindergarten screening at the local school is doing kindergarten. Like they're starting to allow kids to come in to do their whole kindergarten screening and stuff. It's like, but you don't think about that. Like you don't think about, yes, that this is normal for us to be doing screenings and it is normal for us to open back up, but we can't open up the way we were when we closed.
Right.
Right.
Because it's not normal circumstances. Yeah.
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 And I hadn't thought about that until this morning either.
I feel like I learn a new perspective like every day. Like there's just these things that come up where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Like when we went to and take the Subaru to be serviced the other day before our daughter thing, our chiropractic thing, we went to we were passing this nursing home and Rick was talking about like they get calls there and we were talking and I was like, they can't be letting new people come in.
No.
And he was like, no, they're not. And I was like, I didn't even think about that.
They're
and he
not
was like,
even
and
letting
no
family
can visit. Like, and I was like, but it just sometimes like, because we get so focused in on like our things, like I just didn't even think about like how it would affect groups like that.
So like there are a lot of people who've died in nursing homes, and then we'll totally get back on topic because of that. But then like
it's
Michelle,
not off topic.
Well, that's true. But Michelle's nursing home that she is in, that she's still in, they closed at the beginning of March, like locked everything down. And then 2 weeks ago, one of their patients tested positive. And it had to be from an employee who brought it into them.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody else has been there. No, they haven't been sending them. Nobody has needed to go to the doctor's appointments or things. They've been doing like the stuff there, I guess. Or when they have had to go, it's been very, very carefully done. And one of the patients got sick. Not Michelle, but somebody else. I don't know who it was.
Somebody else.
But
it
like,
still brings in the thing where you're just like, oh, great.
Yeah. Like they've been locked down for almost 2 months at that point and had a patient test positive.
Well, in daycares, I feel like responded pretty quickly in terms of like not, like shutting down and stuff like that happened before a lot of businesses were allowing people to work. Like at least for my company, by the time they were letting people work from home, daycares had been closed.
See, there were some daycares around here that were still open. But like last week still open.
There are some daycares that have a lot of children that have parents who are medical workers though. So that was the other thing I was talking about this morning with our patient was that there are daycares that she knows of that's why they stayed open is because they have so many parents who are nurses or doctors or police or whatever that have necessary jobs.
Well, and
so
Dawn,
they've just done smaller classes.
Dawn works from home, and Jake, her husband, he still has to work.
Yeah.
So like it's literally one of those things where like if she were to pull her kids out on her own like choice, like with the daycare being open, if she chose to do that, she literally would not be able to do her job. Not with a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. Like that would not happen. Yeah. Like, and they're both boys. Like it just wouldn't happen. So it's not even like just medical workers that don't have a choice. It's like job security and still providing for my family, or like they have like it's a really hard choice to have to make.
It is.
because at the end, it's almost not a choice. Like you have to
Yeah.
do it. So, and I mean, it just worked out that like, at the time Melinda was keeping Oliver a couple of days a week and
Hmm.
otherwise Rick could be here. But like, I don't know. Like, I think my job was a different situation. I was able to work from home. So I would definitely, if Oliver had been in daycare, I would have been in a situation where I would have pulled him and I could have
Yeah.
kept him and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
So there's things that have developed in your pregnancy while you've been home,
Hmm.
that would have developed even if you were still in school teaching. So
Yeah.
how do you think, like, how do you feel about that? About if you were still in school versus you're able to be home while dealing with these things?
So the biggest thing is I actually was hospitalized already for
Mhm.
3 days. I was having pain in like my upper right area of my stomach. And I told my midwife, doctor, provider, whatever about it when I went in. And I was like, it's kind of hurting up here. It's not all the time. It kind of feels like a softball bruise. Like when I move, it will go away or it'll get worse. So I don't know if it's like muscle. She's like, oh, it's probably like a hot spot. That's just where baby boys like to rub and rub, it's just making it really tender. A week later, I'm like, yeah, no, this is still pain. Like, I just need to go get this checked out. And I'm a post bariatric patient. So I already have to worry a little bit about his weight gain or baby boy's weight gain and that kind of thing. And I was diagnosed with developmental cord insertion, which makes me high risk.
Mhm.
um, Simply just monitoring, making sure he's getting enough oxygen, blood flow,
Yeah.
growing big enough, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's why I'm already doing my 2 weeks. So went in. Well, first of all, I called and I said, "Hey, I'm this many weeks pregnant. What is the protocol?" Because with everything going on, I don't want to show up at the wrong door. I don't want to go to the wrong place, whatever. I was told to go to the emergency room, which means by yourself. So here I am walking up to the emergency room, looking at all these big blow up negative pressure rooms set up in the parking lot. Walk up, nurse takes my temperature. They go to check me in. They start to put the wristband on and they say, "Wait, how many weeks pregnant are you?" And I think I was 31 at the time. And they're like, uh, "I think we're going to send you over to the women's center. Hold on." So sure enough, they called. They said, "Nope, we are not going to see you over on this side. It's going to be safer to handle you over there." So they transferred me over there. And at that point, they said, "Are you here by yourself?" I said, "Yeah, I was told to come to the emergency room. You're not allowed to have anyone with you." "Oh, no, you're over on the women's center. You're fine. Do you have a support person?" Immediately called my husband.
Yeah.
So I ended up being there for about 3 days. I have to have my gallbladder removed. Long story short.
Yeah.
However, I was too far along for surgery. So they're like, "Well, we'll get you as close to full term as possible. And then wait 4 to 6 weeks and then take it out afterwards." So I'm in constant dull pain, every once in a while, sharp pain. I'm on a low fat diet, lots of rest. I don't know how I could save face in front of my third graders with the pain that I'm going through each day. I
Yeah.
really don't. So
Yeah.
being home really has been such a blessing because, I can run to the bathroom when I need to, all of those little perks of being able to be home, eat a snack when I want, go to the bathroom when I want, whatever. But the biggest thing is I don't want them, as a teacher, you never want the kids to know what's going on in your head and what troubles are bothering you.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be good. They've got their own stuff that they're bringing from home. They've got their own, I put on that smile, happy face.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really been a blessing in that, even when it hurts for a little bit, I can, hold on guys. I've got my headphones and everything. This is my office space. So like, "Oh, hold on, let me grab something real quick." And I can go, ow, 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 and then come back to
Yeah.
it. So it's been very, very different. We don't have to worry about packing up our classrooms for the summer. Usually we have to pack up everything into boxes, all the bookshelves, all the everything. Our principal this year is like, "Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Just, get the essentials and things that you need to get cleaned up." Because when we left, like I said, we went in, planning for a couple days of online or whatever. But I have a desk drawer full of snacks I need to clean out that have been in there for 2 months. Like I had a whole drawer full of snacks. What can I say?
I mean, now you can add them back to the collection at home.
That's actually what I did. I went, I didn't start that until I was pregnant, but then it just kind of continued. And I have a snack drawer at my desk, and I just brought everything home.
I'll take a long-term sub in the fall. So I'll have someone else start the year out for me. Have no clue what that's going to look like. Because, when school starts back, when is it going to start back? How is it going to start back? Whatever. Like, we have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to try to leave my materials ready for someone to take over for me.
Yeah.
So I've got to make sure like laptops are there, teacher editions are there, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's because you get to take your maternity leave at the beginning of the school year since you're a summer baby.
Correct. Right? So let's say we end up inducing and it's the last week of school or like during my post planning. I don't even know how that's going to work. I would just take those as sick days. It wouldn't start my maternity leave. Right. For actual maternity leave, it would need to be more than like 2 weeks.
Right. That's kind of neat though, that it works out that way. Mm-hmm. Like they're not just like, oh, well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it would go into next year. So I guess the way they kind of treat summers is my contract is through like the end of July, but my contract work days end May 26th, 27th, something like that. That Wednesday after Memorial Day, whatever it is.
27th.
Yeah.
27th. Okay. Yeah. So let's say even if you were sick on a Saturday, you don't call in sick to work on a Saturday because you're not scheduled to work on a Saturday.
Right.
That's how they kind of treat the summer.
It's like a really long weekend.
It's like a really long weekend.
Gotcha.
June is Saturday, July is Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's 6 to 8 weeks, but with having to have my gallbladder surgery afterwards, I don't know how that's going to work either because that's going to be scheduled 4 to 6 weeks after delivery. And then that has a 2-week turnaround, I think, on it. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to say the least.
Right. And then your husband gets paternity leave, right? Mm-hmm. That's a new thing that the county that he works in does, which is cool because that's not something that's been done in the past.
But it's weird because like I work for a different county and obviously teach, but mine eats my sick days, but I don't really get vacation days. I get 3 personal days a year and that's it. Yeah. His is all vacation days.
Yeah.
So once he's out of vacation days, then it's unpaid. But I think they offer the full 12-week FMLA.
Right. And FMLA
requirement.
FMLA is totally different from any of your vacation or anything like that.
And that's why I think that's why they do I guess that's why they pay him from his vacation days.
Right.
And then mine they pay for my sick days. The whole thing is just weird how it all works between HR and health insurance benefits and I'll tell you that hospital bill from that gallbladder whole debacle. I didn't even get my gallbladder. Yeah, my 3 days.
Yeah.
Was more than my expected for the baby. So
what?
Jesus.
Yeah. So out of pocket check.
Well, your deductible is now met. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's from your gallbladder. So you have hospital experience now. Is that because you actually stayed in the labor and delivery in the women's center area? So I guess did that kind of give you an idea of what it's going to be like when you have the baby? Like, how are you feeling about that in general?
So it was, they had me move rooms so that when I first got there, I guess they put me in like emergency delivery type area. So it wasn't a delivery room. It wasn't the really large room that's designed to hold a lot of
Suites.
people and one of the suites, right?
Yeah.
And I was there for the first like 2 days. And it was good to get to know kind of how things worked, just what the room was like, what the nurses and doctors are like, what the expectations are, which was a little bit different from when I first got there and from when I left too, because I wasn't allowed to eat anything when I first got there because I didn't know if they were going to be doing surgery, like all this.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different at first. But I mean, everyone was nice and pleasant. The only thing I didn't like was having to wear a mask 24/7. Like when I slept out, they still kind of wanted me to wear my mask because my oxygen level was still up. Um, I don't know. It was good because it was kind of like a trial run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I realized I like to do like a lot of like yarn work, like knitting and stuff. Yeah, not going to happen. They put the IV in your wrist. That's not going to work. There's hair dryers in the bathroom, so don't pack your hair dryer. Just random stuff.
Because it's the same hospital, just a different campus. Because so we were
Right.
both at main campus. They gave us mommy bags. Like it's a diaper bag that has bathroom essentials.
So much stuff in it.
So
Well,
everything that you need, unless you want
I
your
didn't pack.
personal stuff.
Well, and I didn't pack or bring anything.
Well, you didn't
Like
know you were going
when
to
I
stay.
went, I didn't even know they were going to admit me.
Yeah.
And then I was there for 3 days. So at one point, I think it was after. So I spent the night, and then the next day they're like, "All right, let's go ahead and shower." And I'm like, "Okay, should I send my husband home to go get stuff for me? Like, what should I do?" And they're like, "Oh no, we got." They had deodorant, soap, shampoo, toothbrush,
Toothbrush.
toothpaste, everything. Um,
Yep, you'll get it again in a few weeks.
Yeah. We still have ours. They were never used.
I used it the one time that I showered when I was there.
Well, and she even brought me a baby shampoo. She must have just like grabbed one of the bags or the kits or something because there's
Yeah.
even like a baby shampoo in there.
Probably.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'll take this home with me. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Souvenir?
Yeah. I actually kept the menu. I think I have it here somewhere. Oh, yeah.
They let you
Menu.
keep the menu. They took the menu from me every day. Yeah, with your room number and everything on it.
The room number and
Look,
everything.
there is one thing that can be said about that hospital. They've got good food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want to tell us about what's going on with you, how you're dealing with things, how you feel about the next couple of weeks? Because what you were saying earlier, I mean, they want him to be here sooner. They want baby to be here sooner than you had hoped.
Yeah. So after I passed out in the OB's office,
Oh my gosh. I don't think I told
dur-
Angel about that.
She did.
Did I?
I told her.
You did.
Yeah, I told her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
during a non-stress test, literally sitting in a recliner, putting
Yeah.
the monitors on my stomach, I pass out.
Yep.
So they're like, they're not just going to send me home. They need to have me meet with the provider, and the provider's like, we'll check your blood work, all that kind of stuff, see what's going on. But if your health is declining, like if you're not handling this well, he looks great. Not all the ultrasounds. He's doing wonderful. He's making an 8 out of 8 or whatever their scoring thing is.
Yeah.
But they're like, you need to be doing well too. So we'll start looking at induction at 37 weeks.
Mhm.
That's when I asked about like steroids for lung development. She's like, at 37, you're fine. 36, we have to look at steroids. She didn't set a induction date, but on Tuesday I go back for an ultrasound and doctor's appointment anyway. So, and I think I meet with an actual doctor versus a midwife. So I don't know if a doctor has to make the appointment or decision, or if that was kind of her thought, or that we'll know from my blood work of what the heck's going on.
But so you're looking at right now, Amanda, induction,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Not talking about anything else at this point because he's been in the position
Oh
for a
yeah,
while.
he's been what is it, Vertex head down
I just call it
for
head down.
for weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been ready. He's been in position. So the initial thought, and that was one of my biggest, not concerns, but I don't want to immediately go to C-section.
Sure.
And that was one of my things of, well, if a baby's coming out early, at what point do you have to choose between? They're like, oh no, we try induction first. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
so what does that mean? And so, but it sounds like, I mean, 37 weeks, they're like, oh, he's pretty much good to go. So
they 36 weeks, they technically consider 36 weeks preemie, I think. They classify them as preemie.
Yeah.
Although
but
really you're still full term at that. If you look at the weeks, you're to the full term point, but they still classify that as preemie until 37 weeks, I think.
So if I were to have to go in at 36 weeks, I would have to do steroids to help his lung development. At 37, I don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So
the difference.
37 is like the clear week. That's like where they're focusing on lungs and brain. And as long as they're,
And there are, in a lot of cases, from what I've seen, like 36 weeks, usually they're good. I think the steroids are just like an extra measure, just to make sure.
He's
Is
like
he
all
moving around right now?
Yeah, he's like all the way. No, sorry, he's like all the way right here at my side.
Oh my gosh.
He likes to sit like right under my rib cage.
Which is
but
why
normally
you have
he's
gallbladder
more,
problems.
which is why my gallbladder's not happy.
Yeah.
But normally he doesn't sit that far on my side, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Got a giant lump on my side.
Yep.
It's good times. It's good times.
I do not miss it.
You don't miss the pregnancy part?
God, no. Right now is perfect.
Almost 2.
Yeah. I told Rick if we're pretty sure we don't want a second. And I was like, I would be more open to having a second if we could skip to this part. No pregnancy, no labor, no newborn. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us, Amanda. We really appreciate you taking the time. And you guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon so you know when we have more videos like this, because it is enlightening. It's, if nothing else, it's very enlightening to see how people of different areas of life, how they're handling this situation. Also, follow us on social media at Momestly for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye.